In a quiet town nestled between hills and forests, John, a reserved but talented music teacher, lived a solitary life. His days were spent teaching local children how to play piano, and his evenings were spent alone, playing his old grand piano in the comfort of his modest home. John preferred the simple life, but that simplicity was shattered one cold evening when he found a strange letter in his mailbox. The envelope was old and yellowed, as if it had been lost for decades. Inside was a single sheet of music with no title and no signature, just a hauntingly beautiful melody. Something about the notes drew John in, stirring emotions he couldn't explain. That night, as he played the melody on his piano, the room seemed to shift. The air grew colder, the shadows danced on the walls, and the clock stopped at exactly 11:11. At first, John dismissed it as his imagination, but the following nights were no different. Every time he played the melody, strange phenomena occurred. Faint whispers echoed in the room, lights flickered, and certain notes on the piano seemed to resonate with an unnatural force. Determined to understand what was happening, John began researching the melody. He asked older townsfolk, combed through old records at the library, and even spoke to his eccentric neighbor, who had a keen interest in local folklore. His search led him to a tragic story from 50 years ago, the death of a young girl named Clara. Clara had been a prodigy pianist, renowned for her talent. She lived in John's very town and had been working on a composition said to be her masterpiece. But before she could finish it, she died under mysterious circumstances. The official story was an accident, but whispers of foul play had circulated for decades. As John delved deeper, he discovered that the melody he had received was identical to Clara's unfinished piece. The realization sent chills down his spine. The more he played it, the stronger the strange occurrences became. Then one night, as he hit a particularly resonant note, his piano played the rest of the melody on its own. John's fear turned to determination. He realized Clara was trying to communicate with him. She wasn't haunting him to harm him. She was begging for justice. Through the melody, John began experiencing flashes of Clara's life, her passion for music, the joy it brought her, and the betrayal that ended her dreams. The visions revealed the truth. Clara's mentor, a famous composer, had stolen her work and claimed it as his own. When Clara threatened to expose him, he silenced her forever, staging her death as an accident. The composer became a legend, celebrated in the music world. While Clara was forgotten, his descendants still lived in the town, carrying on the family name and guarding their dark secret. John knew he had to act, but as he got closer to uncovering the truth, strange accidents began to happen. His piano strings snapped violently while he played. Shadows loomed in his home even when the lights were on. It was as though someone or something wanted to stop him. The climax came when John decided to play Clara's completed melody at a town concert. As the final notes echoed through the hall, the audience was struck by a vision: Clara's final moments, her mentor's betrayal, and the crime that had been hidden for decades. The truth was undeniable. The descendants of the composer, sitting in the audience, couldn't escape the weight of the revelation. The town was left in shock. Clara's story was finally told, and her name was restored. John returned home that night, exhausted, but at peace. The next morning, he found his piano missing. In its place was the empty sheet of music, now blank as if its purpose had been fulfilled. John never received another mysterious letter, but every so often, when the clock struck 11:11, he thought he could hear the faint sound of a piano playing in the distance, a melody that would never be forgotten.